Welcome to episode 25 of COVID Comms. Today we're continuing the conversation around introducing change during COVID-19. In the last episode, we spoke about how we might introduce change in the current environment in a way that reduces the risk of change fatigue. I highlighted that by managing the emotions, we can remove the obstacles to inspiring motivation, which is required if you're going to build momentum for your change initiative. Now, this video is not going to be a 7-step guide to implementing change, but I do want to discuss with you 6 important considerations that you need to be thinking about if you are going to introduce change in the current environment. Now, the first one is to acknowledge and validate the emotions of your people. People experience grief and loss, fear and frustration around change at the best of times. Now, these emotions are only going to be magnified in the current environment. So it's really important that you let them know that these feelings are legitimate and that they are not the only ones feeling them. This is an important first step if we are going to get past them. Create a compelling case for change. Now, some may recognize this as one of Kotter's 8 steps, but it's really all about explaining the why behind the change. You know, as Nietzsche famously said, he who has a why can endure any how. And if people understand the why and the purpose behind the change, they're not only going to be more likely to endure it, they're more likely to engage and support the change initiative. Cast vision for the end result. What you want to do is shift people's focus from their current discomfort to the future benefits. To do this, you need to paint a clear picture of what the change completion looks like. Now, as you do this, try and engage people's emotions. Talk about how the change will alleviate present pain points and frustrations, but also describe the positive emotions that people experience at the end result. Now, something else we want to do is highlight what is not changing, what is staying the same. Any change that you're implementing, there are going to be things that do not change. As I've said before, consistency brings stability. So highlighting what is staying the same, what is staying consistent, what is staying familiar is going to be reassuring to your people. Invite contribution. Now ask your people for their ideas. Ask how they would undertake certain aspects of the process. You don't always have to take their suggestions on board, but simply consulting your people is going to allow them to feel a level of control over the process, which means they're more likely to not only engage, but also take ownership over the initiative. The final consideration is clear and consistent messaging. Now, if you're delivering contradictory messages that aren't clear, you are only going to create confusion. And in a world where emotions are already heightened, any confusion that people have is going to increase the level of uncertainty in their minds, and that will magnify any negative emotions they experience. Yes, it's been a little chaotic and there hasn't been a whole lot of stability. That doesn't mean you should be shying away from introducing change to your company. The teams and organizations that will thrive during this time are the ones that will make the changes necessary to make the most of the opportunities that present right now. And they will be intentional about introducing changes that will set them up for growth post-COVID-19. Just right now, you have to be more intentional than normal about managing people and managing their emotions to make sure they feel supported through the change. Hey, tell me, what was the one thing that stood out to you the most right then? Put it in the comment box below. If you think it was a valuable message, please share it amongst your network. And stay tuned for more COVID comms. They're going to be coming up later in the week. So until then, lead well.